Hello.
Hello.
Hey, folks. What have we got? We've got a document, so feel free to sign in if you'd like to. And then we've got some standing items. There are no new faces. I mean, there's some youthful and very, excited faces, but they're not new. And then we've got, I feel this is going to be a quick one today, which frankly suits
I
me.
don't know. They've been long recently.
Open RFCs need Stuart.
Should be
Needs.
one in here. Wait, why didn't that show up? I opened one yesterday.
For need Stuart.
I probably tagged it wrong or something.
Maybe it's because I'm not logged in on this machine right now.
I don't know why. Hold on. This one?
I changed my phone yesterday, folks, which means I now have two phones because it just takes so long to migrate between phones. Listen, you don't want to see me do that.
Maybe it's all the other tags.
Okay, maybe it's probably just that I'm not logged in. But I'll do the two-factor thing.
I don't think that's why, but I think I probably maybe because it has the team scope or something, which I'm not even sure is
Does
right.
it have the type of RFC? That's like the only thing it really needs is labeled type RFC. And it can't be
Doesn't
graphed
have that.
either. Okay.
Yeah, we've got
I think
nothing
that
in
it did not have type RFC.
Okay. So it should be type RFC and needs Steward, and then it should show. There it is. I see it.
Okay. Was I supposed to add those manually, or were they somehow supposed to get automatically added?
inline Buildpack layers.
In any case, yeah, I've been doing a bunch of stuff with inline build packs, and this is a thing we discussed like ages ago. Like I remember Steven telling me it's a bad idea. And he's not here anymore, so I was like, now I want to do it. But I wrote the RFC and then started looking at the code and thinking about it, and I'm like, oh, I remember why he thought it was a bad idea. It's actually kind of hard to do, and you pretty much have to do it from the life cycle, and then you need some kind of interface between the platform and the life cycle to make it happen. And then, in any case, I've been using inline. I think the more important thing is actually I've been using inline build packs a lot, and they're really, really cool and powerful, and would shut a lot of people up because like they are a nice response to just drop a Docker file in your repo. So I'd still like to discuss it at some point. I actually think there's a ton of things like this that we could do. We could do slices. We could do all sorts of stuff that are like declaratively from the project toml. So it's out there, not urgent. I'm going to kind of look at the code some more and think about implementation, but I am a little bit worried that it's just going to be more trouble than it's worth.
I have a thought on inline build packs.
Yeah.
I put this in one of the conversations. I think it was around it started with that RFC for build pack layer rebasing, but one one of the things that would be really helpful is if an inline build pack could say it needs something so that you don't, like it requires something. And right now you have to use other build packs to really do that, right? Because I think it only lets you, it always passes detection, so you can't really do anything custom there. Are you planning to address that at all in this?
I'm interested in it. I mean, like, that's sort of what I'm saying. As long as we can keep the like basic experience simple, I'd love to add more and more to it, you know?
Yeah, because I mean, like this would make it possible to have a person, like you, like the thing that's really cool about all the different build packs is like you can compose them, but like right now the only way I can do it is using like the build plan build pack that Paketo has, because you can just say I need to require all this stuff first, and then my inline build pack can do all its work.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean that would be super powerful.
Wait, you mean the detect part specifically, or the composability part?
The detect part. I think like because it always passes detection, there's no way to have a plan. Like the Paketo build plan build pack lets you put a plan.toml file, and then you say, I want to require these things, so that you could have an inline build pack that says I
I
need
see.
Python.
So you actually need, yeah, you need the plan, not like, so the reason it doesn't have detect is we figured like if you put this here, you want it to run.
Yeah.
But so that part probably still holds, but like having the plan makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I agree. Always want to pass detection, but like if the plan is there, that would be like really cool. So anyways, I just since you've made an RFC for enhancing inline, I thought I'd just bring it up.
Yeah, it makes sense. I'm gonna think more and more about it, so I'll include that. That one's probably actually a lot easier to do.
Okay. Cool.
Interesting. And we've got nothing else in any of the other categories right now, which is a good thing, because it speaks of stability. And I'm happy with stability. I might even nudge Terence next time I see him and just say, hey, can we stick a 1.0 on this? But hey, let's not go there right now. Talk updates regarding graduation.
Are we have we moved on from RFCs already?
Right, no, those, so unless you got one.
We circle back around after the standing items usually when we
Okay,
follow this.
cool.
We haven't been following the agenda relatively recently when I've been running, but yeah.
Okay, we can circle back, no problem.
Joe, any updates on the graduation?
None from me. I'm not sure if Terrence has any.
I don't have any since I guess I did the update last week. What is this video? Yeah.
Cool.
I think generally speaking, we're targeting KubeCon EU. So yeah, a bunch of things to do, but we're not trying to rush for North America or anything like that. So, just for all those who haven't heard.
And
Yeah.
KubeCon EU in Amsterdam, which is a nice town.
Yeah, we figured we wanted you there, Aiden, for it. So no, there's I guess if since you weren't around last week, but the short is there was the doc I shared in the leadership channel, Aiden, that has a checklist of stuff that was given to us by Bob Killen from the
cool.
CNCF of things most of them are like documentation things, but things that we need to do. So there's like a checklist of stuff. So we kind of just gotta crank through those. And then he also recommended us to do that technical oversight or whatever doc, because either we have to do it or someone in the TOC has to do it. And if we want to expedite it, it's just better if we do it, because we should know the project better than the TOC person who's going to do it. And then, yeah, there's essentially 2 projects ahead of us, even if we were to get everything in right now in the process. So
Cool. Super. I'm not going to migrate to that document right now because I'd show you everything else on my desktop. And I've done that before and it wasn't good.
yeah, I should just link the doc in here probably somewhere. It's public. There's nothing like secret about it.
Yeah. And here we go. you had something about RFCs that you wanted to chat about, was it?
Yes, you know, when I'm joining the call regularly, something's on my mind. Um, so yeah, I joined a little while ago, and I don't think Joe was here or you were here for it. When we talked about this RFC for rebasing layers, and Jesse created this awesome draft, and much better than I would have come up with. And so it's a feature that we are really interested in at Rapid7, and I'm trying to help you know, move it forward if possible, and you know, talk about any concerns people have so that we can get it to a place where everyone's happy with it. And I'm basically just bringing that up. One thing that there's some, you know, there's a lot of discussion back and forth, and specifically with like other Paketo maintainers, I think I've addressed some of those concerns. Like, you know, if we add some metadata that says like a layer is should be rebasable, then Pack should not rebase it unless you add the dash dash force flag. So there's some kind of things that would make the Paketo's maintainers more comfortable. I assume for Heroku that would probably be beneficial as well. Slash Salesforce. So anyhow, yeah, just wanted to bring it up, and if there's any kind of concerns or, you know, things that I should be aware of, reasons why this isn't, you know, going to happen or whatever, just like to have that all be out in the open.
I still don't see any reason why we couldn't push forward on this. I think we need to do, and I say we because I haven't had time. I would have liked to incorporate some of the feedback on the RFC into the RFC. So if you want to kind of help speed things up and you have cycles, then like adding some GitHub suggestions or something to the RFC to like, you know, get rid of some of the RFC verbiage about like using this to do patch runtimes, for instance, right? Like I know Ed pointed out that's probably not a thing that we want to like necessarily like hinge this whole thing on, and maybe update some of our examples and like you said, do have some of the stuff around force and things like that, and like what that behavior might be like. That would help move things forward a little bit. Yeah, that's how I feel.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, my updates, I tried to put as much info in there as possible, but you know, I'm not the author here, so I was kind of providing some starting ground, and then if you wanted to change
We're
stuff.
all the author here, so if you want
Okay.
to, this is not really like I'd like it to just be a community RFC. So if you want to throw some GitHub stuff on there, I will just blindly merge them as long as it makes sense, and then we can just cycle through as many iterations as we need to get
Or just
everyone
something's
else
on
on board.
fire and I have to drop. Some somebody take over the share.
Yeah, yeah, take it
Um, okay, cool. Yeah, then I'm happy to do that. I guess the last thing I was gonna say is it would be really awesome if this RFC included a life cycle component. Like basically, if it could just be a one-stop shop. I want to go rebase a bunch of layers, and I know that there was questions around how do we do that.
Yeah,
I still feel like the golden image approach seems to be the most sane way to do this. And I don't know in terms of like actually doing the implementation, but I'm just trying to think about it from a user perspective. It would be like super helpful, you know, to just be able to say, here's my config file, go and rebase these layers, and I get to move on with my day.
yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna be working on some other projects, but I think at some point I will have some cycles and I could help you work on this.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Hopefully, I hope to come back and maybe later today or tomorrow. I'd love to be able to poke at some of this feedback and incorporate it in the RFC for kind of a round two, and then tag people to see if it addressed their concerns enough to hold a strong opinion one way or the other.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, and I'll just give a quick update on Paketo multi-arch. So we have all the tooling to update composite build packs and concrete build packs so that we can support multi-arch. Python is multi-arch, Java is already multi-arch, Golang is multi-arch. Node.js is one step away from that. There are some languages that like people haven't really been using. I've never used them So I don't know that we actually are going to keep maintaining them going forward in the future as a long-term thing, but before we can make an announcement and say everything's multi-arch and, the world is great, we have to just do some, like housekeeping, because some of these repos haven't been touched in a year or more. And we've got a lot of probably breaking changes from Docker and Sift and stuff. So we're not quite there yet, but very soon we should be able to say everything is multi-arch. So just a quick
Which
update.
languages off the top of your head are on the cutting room floor? I'm just curious from like a community like language popularity reason, not any other reason.
I think PHP you said was one you didn't have a maintainer for, right?
Yep, and Ruby.
In Ruby, huh?
Interesting.
Yeah, which I mean, like I remember reading through some blog posts. Sophie Wigmore like wrote a blog post about how we're making Ruby kind of like we're bringing Ruby back as like a first class build pack, etc. So I don't know. I mean, like we don't use Ruby internally. I don't know if there's a lot of users of Ruby, but I have seen that. I don't know how to say his name, Schneeman.
Yep.
He's a Ruby maintainer, and there are active Ruby folks in the community, but I just don't happen to be one of them, so I don't know how many
Yeah.
people.
He maintains our Ruby stuff, but we also pay him to do it. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like the project used to be people were paid to do it. Now it's basically open source, if you will. I mean, like I'm kind of getting paid to do it, but not forever. It's like this is a priority right now, and then at some point it won't be, and then it will be open source, contribute as time allows, that kind of thing.
it is the I mean, this might be too much into the politics of other stuff, but has Broadcom basically pulled back? Because I feel like Paketo used to be paid maintenance under the VMware roof, right?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. All the maintainers that were paid to do this work are no longer on the project. Like Daniel used to be part of the original team, but he hasn't been with Broadcom for a long time.
Yeah.
He's just
Yeah, yep.
So yeah, unfortunately, all the Broadcom people are no longer involved in the project.
Interesting. So does that mean does Sophie still work on
No,
it,
yeah.
but not at Broadcom?
Nope, she moved on to, I think she's at Datadog right now.
But she's not working on Paqueto, right?
She still is or is done?
I think she's
I
not.
think that's what.
Yeah, she hasn't made any contributions.
Yeah.
He switched roles. So yeah, I mean, we do have a couple of active contributors, and I mean, like honestly, a lot of the work has just been updating workflows and scripts and stuff so that it could support multi-arch. And now, there's some housekeeping that needs to happen, and I think it's just it should just work going forward. But in terms of like new features, once we get everything updated, I don't know. Java is definitely a popular language, and Go. I'm actually curious if what it's like on the Heroku side. Like what languages you guys use. I mean, I know we're talking about something completely different here, but we're kind of talking about Buildpacks usage and like
Yeah.
community usage.
Yeah, Node's going to be number one, of course, right? And then
Node.
for us, it's probably Go, Ruby. We still have quite a bit of PHP and Java, much more Java than PHP, from my understanding. I haven't looked at those metrics in a good bit, but those are kind of like, Node is by far and away the biggest language, right, in general. And then
Yeah.
partially because people use it for front end stuff as well as back end stuff. So even a lot of Ruby projects come with Node as well. So it's sort of inflated by usage a little bit because anyone who has a front end that's using React or something like that is going to have Node as well.
Yeah, there's probably not a lot we can share publicly about that stuff just because they're metrics and things. But I mean, we basically we have a languages team essentially that work on our build packs, I guess similar to Paketo, but I think we prioritized and staffed it differently. Where I think when we were starting the build packs project, one of the big differences for us is that they built an engineering team around it, and we built basically a languages team where we hire, I mean, you get single point failure, but we hire people essentially to be an expert in that ecosystem. So, um, I remember Steven was asking me a bunch of questions about why this thing was broken in the Ruby build pack. And, like I helped him fix it, but it's because, like we know we know the ecosystem per each thing that we support because we have a person basically staffed to do it. So they live, breathe, eat that particular language. And so we have a person essentially for each of our language ecosystems that maintains like your PHP, your Go, your Ruby, your Java, Python, etc.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, it will
Portable
be.
or sorry,
Yeah, go ahead.
I was
Go ahead.
going to ask how portable the Paketo build packs are from stack to stack. Like I think you said you're still on the old stack ID stuff. Is that right?
Yeah, so actually one of the things like for PHP and Ruby, I can't really comment, but like Go, Python, and Node.js, those should be supportable on any stack.
Okay.
Um,
As long as
that
it's
was
like a
that was
virtual
actually a
something.
big thing that drove me to start contributing to the project because we do our own stack at Rapid7 and we couldn't just use Paketo stack.
Okay. That's kind of what I was curious about because I know like it sounds like, some languages may be on the cutting floor for Paketo, and I'm trying to figure out like if we if we have customers who want to use Paketo build packs or, we've had other people poke around with like Paketo the builder and everything. And so trying to figure out like, you know, what the what it would mean to add Paketo support, or is Paketo already supported if you use like the Buildpack registry? And it sounds like it is for some of the languages at least. So, like you could use
Yeah,
those on Heroku's base images today.
There,
yeah, a lot of them should work actually. Go ahead.
I had two questions. One, you mentioned breaking changes with stuff like SIF. What are the
Uh,
what are
there
those changes that you're talking about there?
They made some change in a method signature. And so then we have like SIFT code and when we're generating SBOMs. And so we had to go and make a bunch of updates. Honestly, I can't even remember. It was like so painful. I don't want to even think about it. I have to go
Are
update.
you using SIFT as a library versus a binary?
Yeah, that's another thing. It's like we have two kinds of build packs. One of them uses SIFT as a build pack as a binary, and then the other build packs are using it as a library. And the ones that are using it as a library are the ones that have the problem. And
Mm.
this is another thing that there's like
Is that because it's a internal API in theory, but I know in GoLand it's like kind of weird of how certain packages basically treat public versus private.
it's a good question. I internal API for SIFT, you mean, or for our
Yeah, like are you leveraging an API they consider?
yeah,
Obviously, like if you're using it, like you can call it, but like, do they consider that an internal API that you're leveraging, or
I
is it
think it is.
basically the public interface is the CLI and that's what they consider for what they break versus not break?
I feel like the change was an internal one, and one of the problems is that lots of build packs were pinning to a specific version of SIFT, and then that was blocking, you know, Go mod updates. So then we started changing that, and then that's when we started seeing all these breaking changes. So then we had to go make these minor modifications where SIFT was being used. Um, and something similar happened with Docker. And that had to actually, the first thing I had to do was update image util. Jesse, I pinged you about that a while ago. So yeah, I mean, like, all this stuff about things on the cutting floor, these are things that are just in discussion and kind of like talks right now. There is an RFC where we talk about um, assigning a tier to different build packs based on like how many maintainers we have, and like how much activity and interest there is in it. So that's something that as a project, we're trying to transition from, like you said, corporate, like engineer staffed corporate kind of approach to community driven.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Like I think it's good to be clear about what you get when you pick something. And it should masquerade as the same if that's not actually the reality, right? So
Yeah.
Paketo's
that makes
long
sense.
been an easy choice to tell people to kind of go check out Buildpacks, and so I'm just as a project maintainer keenly interested in making sure Paketo sticks around in some form
Yeah.
or fashion, and making sure that we have as much support from just a OSS standpoint. People need choice, and it makes everybody better, right? So it would be good to
Yeah.
make sure we're all
Yeah.
doing the best
I'm
we
gonna
can
say
for
that
it.
my 2 cents on the PHP Ruby front is that I'm not pushing to, move those into maintenance mode, if you will. I'm gonna put some effort into like getting those updated so we can support everything that we currently support today. And then in the future, if they become blockers, then we'll talk about the maintenance status and the tier status. But at this point right now, we still want to support all the major languages that we currently do, because I don't know if once we announce multi-art support is officially available and everybody can use it, if that will increase more usage and adoption. I don't really know. So I don't want to alienate or eliminate some users because we've decided to remove some languages.
Yeah, I'm curious how much multi-arch, for all the effort we all have spent on it, especially Juan. But I'm curious how much multi-arch matters. I guess in my like circles of stuff, like I feel like I'm just seeing the opposite direction. I guess outside of maybe Mac ARM support stuff, but I feel like I'm just seeing companies that we're interacting with, they just don't care as much about multi-arch. Like I think there was a wave for it, and then basically there's like the juice ain't worth the squeeze, and turns out x86 is fine, and um, like that's what they care about on the server side, and so people have done their experiments, and they're like, I'm good. And I don't know how much people that we've been interacting with in our spheres are caring about multi-arch anymore. But I don't, I'm also not reflecting like all of Salesforce necessarily, like Joe's fears of stuff, but that definitely seems to be the trend I'm seeing kind of late last year to this year. Like, um, I'm sure there are
This
people
year,
who want it, but yeah,
this year is more AI focused.
yeah,
So people forget about multi-arc and that stuff, and now they are playing around with AIs and trying to make
yeah.
code with AI and things like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think this for me predates Joe, predates AI for me, but yeah, I think there was like a big push for some of the Graviton stuff for the cloud
Yeah,
stuff on our side. And
yeah,
basically, I think as companies have been experimenting with it, like they weren't, depending on your application use case, like they just weren't, especially for some of these Java apps, like they just weren't seeing the value for, because one, it's like a lot of like outside the build pack thing, like it's just a lot of work infrastructure wise to like change and make sure like it goes smoothly.
yeah.
And two, I think they just weren't seeing actually cost savings on the few apps that they did move over. So then what I've seen is like companies just killing the project. They're just like it went from being a priority to like just go back. Like like there's no point adding this complexity to our infrastructure. And so that's in the conversations I've kind of been in,
Okay.
that's kind of what I've been seeing a little bit. But
It's like the
again, super
vendor
small
needs to
sample
do
size.
that complexity, right? Like
Yeah.
as much as you
Yeah,
can. Like it
because
is. Yeah.
everything needs to be multi-arc from your
Yeah.
current infrastructure to move it over to another one.
Yeah.
So if you're using one tool that it's not supporting multi-arc, then you're stuck, or then you will need to change it for something else, and that's a lot of more work and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Buildpacks is
Yeah. And
definitely
mainly like
pretty
most of
cool
these,
though for that.
yeah,
Like
it's super
being
cool.
able to.
Mainly like a lot of these folks aren't on build packs necessarily. So I actually think like all the work being done in build packs to make multi-arch happen makes it massively easier. And so you like a lot of these people who are doing it are people who are in Dockerfile land. And the Dockerfile land multi-arch story is
yeah,
a lot of
I
work.
my last talk was about that and a few weeks ago. Yeah, and people was curious about it. I'm still waiting for the recording, but people was wondering about that, or they said like, "Hey, I don't know what this Buildpacks is. Could you explain me more?" But most of them was, people here from Colombia, Latin America mostly, and it was cool to see people interested in that. And that use case was for because I showed like, oh, this is a Docker file if you want to support multi-arc, and then you have to these weird conditions. If these things, then install this package. If it's not, then do the other things, and then you have a massive Docker file with several conditions on it, and it's really hard. And at that moment, I said that Paketo was going to be alive at the end of the year multi-arc, and then I said that Heroku, it's already multi-arc, so go ahead and use it. I was going to ask if anyone knows something about Google. I don't know if Google is still investing on this. We haven't seen any Google folks in a while, and I don't know.
I think they, from last I heard, because they have had people come in this year. Just they've never been the most active. They have their spurts of, I think it's similar. It's just like they're active when they need help
something,
or they need something. But like as far as I know, they're still like using Buildpacks to power Cloud Run and other things. And so,
but I don't know if they're planning to support multi-arc in Cloud Run. So because their builder is just for yeah. Okay,
yeah, I don't know if they have plans to do that. But I do know the original team that was with Matt and those folks that was super active. They got pulled off the project and it got outsourced, or like I remember we like I don't know about outsource is the wrong word. I know the team changed. Like the original team that was working on Buildpacks that we were acting with, I think work on some other related area. Like they got a bunch of new scope for I'm sure some net new thing, and then it got staffed by a different team. So then that's when we were interacting with a totally different team that was asking for help, remember?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm just gonna say I need to drop for another meeting, but good chat. And Jesse, let me know if you want to collab on anything. Happy to help. And thank you for all the feedback and support.
Cool.
Guys.
Yeah, I'm gonna bounce for a meeting.
Yeah. Bye, mate.
All right.
Bye, guys.
That's it.